think we're going to get started, and people can trickle in as they want or watch it after. So just some background information about me. I'm Nikki. I'm a first-year medical student at the University of Ottawa. And today I'm going to be talking to you about neck pain and some ways to prevent or reduce any neck pain that you might have. And I personally am very passionate about this topic because I sit at my computer a lot for school, so I definitely experience my fair share of neck pain. And it turns out that it's a pretty common problem in the population. So there's been a lot of studies that show that neck pain incidence and prevalence is really high, especially in middle-aged populations. So younger people tend to not be affected as much, and then it increases with age, and I'm sure that has some correlations to working at different jobs and life stress and all of those factors. So today we're going to talk about some really simple tricks or some 5-minute activities or exercises that you can just do at any point in your day to hopefully reduce some of that neck pain. Now, we're worried about neck pain, especially in today's day and age, because of the amount of time we spend at our computers. And if your day looks anything like mine, I spend a lot of time looking down at my computer, kind of in a posture where I'm tilted forward like this. And this places a lot of strain on our neck. And it turns out that people that report experiencing neck pain are also 10 times more likely to report also experiencing headaches. Now, there's a couple different types of headaches that people can have, and the type that we're talking about in relation to neck pain is specifically tension headaches. So these are headaches that happen, you feel them on both sides of your head, and it's kind of like a pressing feeling on your head. And I definitely find that the longer I spend at my computer during the day, the worse my neck pain gets, exactly like you said, Natalie. But if you think about it, there's so many other activities that we do during our day where we're also looking down in that same posture. So like, for example, when I read before I go to sleep, I'm also looking down. Or when I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking and I'm chopping vegetables, I'm also looking down. So all of that added up, we spend a lot of time with our necks forward and down during the day. And that stretches these muscles back here, and it places a lot of strain on our neck and our head. And this can lead to really bad headaches for some people, and that can be a problem because if we think about it in our everyday life, like when I have a headache, I just can't get anything done. And also turns out that this discomfort is positively correlated with time on our computer. So the first tip for today is that if you can break up your time sitting at a computer, that's the number one thing that will be helpful for your neck. If you can get up every hour or something, do a little walk, or better yet, you could use some of the neck stretches that we're going to talk about today. So, why are we doing neck stretches? Aside from full-on medical therapies that doctors can prescribe for really severe headaches or neck pain, the number one thing that they recommend is physiotherapy and movement. And it can be a lot to always go to a physiotherapist appointment. So we're going to try teach you some activities and stretches that you can do to hopefully stop yourself from getting to the point where you need to go to a physiotherapist. Studies have also found that strengthening programs have also been really beneficial for decreasing neck pain, as well as some other tricks such as you could use like hot water bottles on your neck or ice therapy if things are really bad, but those are just kind of like the icing on top of the cake. What we really want to do is we want to strengthen our muscles so that they can support our neck in the correct posture. We want to stretch them to avoid any tightness, and especially any tightness that might build up during the day. And then we want to do these stretches regularly to prevent any buildup of pain. So, with that being said, today I'm going to lead you through about 8 to 9 activities, we'll see how our time goes, that you can just do at your desk whenever during your day. And I'll walk through all of them with you. I've got a timer here. We'll do each stretch or activity for about 30 to 45 seconds. And yeah, I'll lead you through them. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to get some active movement going. And with our shoulders, let me just get my timer. And we're going to just do some shoulder circles like this, going backwards and forwards, and then raising your shoulders up and down. So we'll do this for 30 to 40 seconds, and I'll let you know when to start. So if you're following along, go ahead. We're just going to do shoulder circles, going backwards, forwards. I like to alternate and switch it up. We're just trying to increase our range of motion. So sometimes I might do one arm, and I might bring that arm in bigger circles to try to get a bigger range of motion. And this is just to loosen up any tightness that you might have gotten while sitting at your computer all day. Maybe you have some built up stress. And this is just a good way of releasing it. So I try to do a little shakeout every so often when I'm at my computer for a long period of time. And that was 40 seconds. So great job. That's our warm-up activity. And the next thing we're going to do is some movements, just active range of motion with our heads. So I'm just going to have you look side to side, just moving through it really quickly. We'll also look up and down and tilting, but we're not getting into the big stretches yet. This is just to increase our range of motion and really warm up our necks for some of the stuff that we're going to be doing later on. So go ahead. Start to move your head through these positions. Don't force anything. Okay, and then look up and down. Now when you look up, make sure you're not pinching at the back of your neck. So you don't want to crank your head all the way back. You just want to look lightly up and down. So kind of like if you're looking at your computer or something, kind of just towards the top of your computer. And then tilt your head side to side really gently. If you're as tight as I am in the neck, then you'll feel this one a lot, so just be really careful. Okay, great. Now before we get into our really active exercises, that was just a warm-up to get our range of motion going. I just do want to put a disclaimer that if you have any pre-existing medical conditions, so especially anything that has to do with your head or your neck, please be very careful. I'd advise you maybe speak with a physician before you start doing a regular regime like this, what I'm recommending. And also, sharp pain is usually not good pain. So if you feel any pops or anything while you're doing this, stop the exercise, get some heat, get some ice, maybe reduce your range of motion in the exercise. Just because sharp pain is not what we want to feel. There's a difference between like a stretching pain, which is good, that means that the exercise is working, and a sharp pain, which means that you probably pushed your neck a little bit too far. So with that being said, the next exercise we're going to do is called a chin tuck. So from the side view, this is just taking your chin and kind of on the same plane, we're going to push it back like this. So you're not bringing everything back like this. We're trying to keep everything really still and just push it back. So I'm going to start the timer. All right, and go ahead, do your chin tucks. I find it really helpful just to use my finger as a cue and kind of push my chin back and forward. And what this is doing is we're going to try lengthen out and strengthen these muscles at the back of your head. They're called your suboccipital muscles because those are the ones that get a lot of pressure when we're sitting and we're looking down all day. And those are the ones that, if they're really tight, that can lead to the development of tension headaches. All right, and that was 40 seconds. So great job. I find those really helpful to do. You can also do them against a wall if you want a good cue. to see how far back you should go. You stand against a wall and try to push your chin backwards into a wall. All right, and so our next exercise is going to build off of that a little bit. You're going to start with a chin tuck, and then from that chin tuck, you're going to look down really gently. So now instead of an active strengthening exercise, we're going to turn it into a stretch. So you're going to look down, tuck your chin, and then look down really gently. And we'll just move through that stretch, and I'll give you some cues. Okay, go ahead. So do your chin tuck, and then look down. And I just look down gently, kind of like, I'm not trying to look down at my feet. I'm just looking down and out. And then when I'm here, I like to move through it a little bit. So you can move through it and see where it feels good for you. I like to kind of look to the side and really, really gently push my head down with my hand. And you should feel a gentle stretch. Again, nothing too intense. We're going to do this one for a little bit longer so that you can continue to move through it. But remember to keep that chin tucked. We want to elongate the muscles. Okay, in about 10 more seconds. If somewhere's exceptionally tight, try to stay there a bit until you feel it releasing and getting a little bit easier. All right, great job. So that was 4 exercises. We've got a couple more for you. So the next thing that you're going to do, we're going to stretch out these side muscles on our neck. And that will get into your trapezius here, which I know, at least for me, that gets especially tight. In the winter, I really go like this to try to stay warm when I'm walking outside, and that will tighten up our trapezius. So now we want to lengthen it. And what we're going to do is you're just going to tilt your head to the side, straight down like ear to your shoulder. And what you can do, it's hard to see with my camera angle, but if you're sitting at your desk, take your other hand. So if I'm going right ear to right shoulder, I want to take my left hand and I want to hold the bottom of the chair. If that's too much, don't use your hand. But again, just remember, really gentle stretch. So we'll do each side for 30 seconds. Okay, go ahead. Again, you can move through this. So sometimes if I look down a little bit, I can feel it a little bit more. Back up. But everybody's different. So find what's really tight for you. And then stick with that. Okay, and then switch sides, really carefully out of it. And I know, at least for me, this side is much tighter than the other side. So your right and left sides are going to be different, especially depending on what your dominant hand is, what your activities every day are. So just be careful. Okay. All right, and come out of that stretch really gently. Do a little shake out if you need. That one is quite an intense stretch. So I try to do that once or twice a day when I find that I'm sitting and I'm really tensing up at my desk. That's a good one to try to release some of the stress. All right, so the next one that we're going to do, it's a bit more of an active strengthening exercise, but it should improve our range of motion. And what we're going to do is scapular squeezes. So you're going to take your arms in front of you, kind of like you're holding on a tray. I'm going to push this down a bit. So like you're holding on a tray like this, and you're going to push them out and in. And when you're doing that, you're really focusing on squeezing the muscles in between your shoulder blades. So we want to work those to bring your arms out. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up your chest. It's going to strengthen your back muscles so that you can better maintain your posture. And again, hopefully that should try to decrease some of the tightness and prevent any onset of tightness. All right, so let's go ahead. And we're just going to do this. It's hard to see, but you're trying to stay perfectly still and just open up in. And it's really these muscles here in your back that you want to use. Okay, keep going. Think about opening up your chest. This one gets a lot of really small muscles that you don't think of using. And try to keep your elbows in close to your sides so that we're not going all the way out here. We're just keeping it really tight so that we can focus on those small muscles. All right, great job. So that was one of my personal favorites because I don't even think about using those muscles during my everyday life, but after doing it, I know I feel a little bit stronger and more open. So another good thing to incorporate into your daily routine. The next one we're going to do is a thoracic extension. So your thoracic spine is this part at the top, so it's below your neck, kind of the top to mid part of your spine. And that can get really tight if we're hunched over looking at a computer. So what you're going to do is there's a couple variations. If you're pretty open and you've got a good range of motion, you can do this with your arms up. And what you're going to be doing, I'll just turn to the side to show you, is over the back of your chair, you're going to think about reaching up and backwards a little bit. You're not trying to go all the way back. We're just using our upper back to open up and stretch that out. Now, if you're really tight, if that's really hard for you, you can either put your arms behind your head like this, or even hold onto the base of your chair. And that should give you a little bit more support. All right, so we'll do that for 30 seconds. Go ahead. And remember, it's really like an arching motion. So you should be going up and then back. And you want to open up and work that thoracic spine. I'm going to use my arms behind my head to give my neck a little bit extra support. If you find that it's hard on your neck, really feel that you're pushing your neck and your head into your hands and pushing back with your hands. So up and over. Good. One more. Okay. Great job. That one's a little bit more active. It's a little bit more intense. But again, you should kind of feel it opening up the top back of your spine, so it should bring you into a more open posture that we can try to maintain for the rest of our day. Okay, so the last couple of exercises that we're going to do, the first one out of these few is a lumbar rotation. So I'll just tilt this down to show you. But basically, I've got a hand on the table in front of me. They are our desk stretches. And I've got a hand on the back of my chair. And I'm going to twist my spine at the base of my spine. So I'm twisting all as far as I can go, which for me is to about the corner. And then from there, you're going to curve your back and then open. And you're just going to work through this for 30 seconds on each side. So go ahead, do a tilt, and then you can look down and then look up. And again, when you're looking up, it shouldn't be a really crazy back bend. We're really just trying to open up small muscles. Active stretches are really good for warming our body up. I find also aren't quite as painful to sit in as any passive stretches. Okay, tilt to the other side. With passive stretches, I tend to go a little too far in my range of motion. So it's good to have this movement to just cue us to open up our muscles, and then it activates our muscles so that we can maintain good posture for the rest of the day. Okay, one more. Great job. So that one is working on your lower back, which is your lumbar spine, as well as doing some curves to get in your thoracic spine as well. All right, so our last few, This one is quite intense. This is called nerve flossing, and what it's doing, it's just trying to maintain nerve health. So you're going to put your arm as if you're holding a tray, and you're just going to extend it and like this, out and in. If you are finding that that's too easy, you can add in a head tilt to the opposite direction. Now when I do that, I'm pretty tight, so I feel a little bit of a tingling in my arm. That's fine. So I just don't use my head as much. But if the tingling is really bad, then just stick with the arm. So we'll do that in 30 seconds each side. Go ahead. Kind of feels funny at the end of the movement. That's fine as long as it's not any like sharp, crazy pain. You can also just make your range of motion a little bit smaller. Do it without the head, just with the arm. Right, and switch sides. This one is definitely tighter for me. So I'll try a few without the head just to warm up at first. And then you can add the head in. Remember, you're putting the opposite ear to your shoulder as you are the arm that's going out. So my left arm is currently going out, and I'm tilting the right side of my head down. This one's pretty intense. Okay, and that was 30 seconds each side. The last one that we're going to do for today is just a little bit of a strengthening exercise. So we worked a lot on our range of motion. We did some stretching exercises. We loosened everything up to get rid of all that tension that we're feeling throughout the day. And now what we want to do is we want to strengthen. We already did a little bit of strengthening with our scapular squeezes that we did before. But we're going to strengthen the sides of our neck so that we can try keep our heads upright and in good posture and prevent further pain. So what you're going to do is really simple. Just put one hand on the side of your head, and you're going to put pressure with your head into your hand and vice versa. So I'm pushing against my hand with my head, and I'm resisting the movement of my head with my hand. And that's just going to strengthen, and it's just a really small, we're not trying to force our hand away or anything. It's just a really small amount of pressure to get a little bit of an active workout in there. So 30 seconds each side. Go ahead. I find this one's also a good cue to add in if you're ever not realizing that you're slumping, or you need to give yourself a little reminder to have proper posture throughout the day. Just a little bit of strengthening, just 1 minute, kind of can cue your neck for the rest of the day. All right, other side. So I'm pushing this way with my head right now, and this way with my hand, and there's just a little light bit of resistance against them. And that combination of stretching and range of motion that we did earlier and strengthening now is really good for your neck. It's kind of like how when you do a workout, it's good to always do both. So we're doing the same thing with our neck workout right now. All right, and that was 30 seconds each side. So those were our neck exercises that you can just do anytime during the day, sitting at your desk, break up your work day. But some other advice, just remember to incorporate regular movement to try to avoid any really bad neck pain, and try to do these exercises. I like to do 1 or 2 after each of my classes to incorporate that at a lot of different points in my day and just remind myself to keep my head up and stop looking down, as well as going on a little walk. How many times would I do them in my day? Well, I'm not that great at remembering them all the time. So I don't know. I probably get these in, I do my chin tucks at least once or twice a day. And then I consider, I like to do a head tilt and stretch maybe 2 or 3 times a day. But I really think that if you're doing them as often as you can, that's good. And if you can't get to them every day, at least like maybe 3 times a week. If you're experiencing acute neck pain, just be really careful when you do these. But what's key to preventing any recurrences of neck pain is that you do these exercises even after your neck pain resolves. So, for example, I'm really tight now, and maybe I do these exercises and I feel a lot better. I shouldn't stop doing the exercises just because my neck hurts. I should still try to do them like 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, I'm so glad that they helped you breathe easier, Stacy. That's great. Okay, if you have any more questions, I believe this live is going to be posted just as a post on the Facebook page, so I can come back and look at your questions. I hope these exercises helped. I hope you enjoyed this activity, and I hope this is something that you incorporate into your everyday routine now. All right, happy Tuesday. Hope everyone has a good evening.